Hello, my dear semi-candidates, primary 6 members. I am Waiso Saddam, and every time you see me, you know we are going to talk SST. Remember, we are dealing with the political organization of ethnic groups, or the people of pre-colonial East Africa. Are we there? And I left you with an activity that we have to first deal with, then we see what will happen next. Okay. If you have anything that can distract you, please push it away, because we want your attention so that you can get everything that we are going to say. Remember, when you come back, we shall give you a test to examine if you have been learning. Okay? So let's read together. Question number 1, what's a kingdom? I expect you to have a kingdom is an area ruled by a king or a queen, any of the two. Question number 2, give 3 Bantu tribes that formed kingdoms in East Africa. You know, some Bantu tribes formed kingdoms and others didn't form. So which one do you know that formed kingdoms? Okay, we have one, the Luhya, that you can also write Luhya. That is the only tribe in Kenya that formed a kingdom, and that was Wanga Kingdom. Are we together? Then we have Baganda in Uganda, Banyoro, Banyankore, and so many others. Question number 3, state any 2 ways in which kingdoms are important. How are kingdoms important? 1, they unite people, or you can say they promote unity. 2, kingdoms promote culture. They promote tourism, and so many others. Let's get to question number 4. How are kingdoms disadvantageous in a country? We have seen the good things with kingdoms, but how are they dangerous? 1, these kingdoms promote tribalism. You know, mainly they deal with a tribe, a specific tribe. Like you can see Buganda Kingdom. It's the kingdom for the Baganda. So at first they promote the interests of Baganda, then the rest can come in. So that's what we call tribalism. 2, they promote regional development instead of national development. Like a kingdom concentrates on its area or territory. It develops its territory. You can never find Buganda Kingdom developing another kingdom, let's say Toro. It's impossible. So when it's developing only one part, that is what we call regional development instead of national development. When a country is to develop, we have to develop as a country, okay? Maybe you can say this part this time, then next time, another year, another part, like that until you are done with all the areas. But with kingdoms, they only concentrate on where they end, or their territories or boundaries. Okay? Question number 5, state one way ethnic groups were politically organized. I expect you to have, they formed kingdoms, they formed chiefdoms, empires, principalities. Some of them were led by clan leaders, council of elders, or you can say they were led by kings, or they had kings, chiefs, emperors, princes, and so many others. Okay, I gave you only 5 numbers. Do I have someone who has passed everything? Oh, you are great. You are indeed a semi-candidate. Now, if you missed out some point, you make corrections first, and this time around, you pay maximum attention so that you can get everything and you become a star. Are we there, friends? Now, what are we going to have today? Oh, today we are going to learn about Bunyoro Chitala Kingdom or Empire, whereby by the end of this lesson or during the lesson, I expect my semi-candidates to know the founders of Bunyoro Chitala, to know the groups of people who lived in Bunyoro Chitala, and to discuss the contributions of various people who lived in Bunyoro Chitala. Remember, we are dealing with political organization. So we want to see these kingdoms one by one. Are we there? So as you know, we have our sessions, and I bring to you session 1. Now, what are we going to have in session 1? A brief background or history of Bunyoro Chitara Empire or Kingdom. I have used the two words, Chitara Empire or Kingdom. We shall know why do we have a kingdom and as well as an empire. Now, my friends, we want to get to the history of Bunyoro Chitara Empire. This empire or kingdom was first of all found in East Africa, in the parts of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. So it was just one empire that was very big, and that qualifies it to be an empire. You know, an empire can be defined as a place ruled by an emperor or a large place that is ruled by one person. Like this place, it used to be led by a person at a time. So that's why we say it was an empire. And we can also say it was a kingdom, as you are going to see. Now, before we go any further, I want you to know that the story about Bunyoro Chitara kingdom or empire is a myth. What do I mean when I say a myth? A myth simply means a traditional story that explains the origin of people or natural phenomena. Are we there? Natural happenings. Sometimes these stories can be true or false. Okay? But most of them are false stories. Are we there? Now, by the end of this lesson, I'll ask you, was this a correct story or a false story? We shall see. Let's go ahead. Bunyoro Chitara Empire was a legendary empire because there was no emperor who ruled over this empire. When we read books or historical books, it's not reflected that we had an emperor ruling over Bunyoro Chitara, but it was a legendary empire because it covered a large piece of land. Are we there? And that's why we say Bunyoro Chitara Empire. It is just our legendary empire that had no emperor who ruled over it. Are we there? Then it is also important, my friends, to note that it is sometimes called Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom because it was the first in the Intercastrian region. You remember the Intercastrian region of East Africa? The places between the Great Lakes and rivers of East Africa is what is termed to be the Intercastrian region of East Africa. So this is sometimes called Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom simply because it was the first in the Intercastrian region. It was the only kingdom there, or empire. So when you are asked which was the earliest kingdom to be formed in East Africa, don't hesitate to say Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom. If the question asks an empire, please go ahead to say Bunyoro Chitara Empire. Okay, this empire was founded by a man known as Ruhanga. Ruhanga in this case was referring to God. Are we there? So it was founded by Ruhanga and his brother Ncha. Guess you still remember the history of P5 because SST is a spiral subject. You learn about the same thing, but at different levels, you keep on adding a little. Are we there? So primary 6, I was saying that it was founded by Ruhanga, and in this case, Ruhanga was being referred to as God, and his brother Ncha. Are we there? These two brothers belong to the people known as Batembus. So when we are asked the founders of this empire, Bunyoro Chitara Empire, with the Batembus, someone can also say Abatembus. Now, my friends, let's spell the word Batembus. Batembus is capital B-A-T-E-M-B-U-Z-I. Batembuzi, they are just syllables. Are we there? Now my P6, we have session number 2. That was a brief background of Bunyoro Chitara Empire. We said that it was founded by a group of people known as Batembuzi or Abatembuzi or Tembuzi people. These people were led by Ruhanga and his brother Ncha. Are we there? Now, my friends, we have session number 2. What do we have to know about session number 2 is the dynasties of Bunyoro Chitara Empire. Now, you still remember the meaning of a dynasty? Simply a group of rulers from the same family. So now, in the Bunyoro Chitara Empire, there lived 2 groups of people mainly, and then it collapsed. Now I have a simple question for you. Mention the groups of people who lived in Bunyoro Chitara Empire, of course, before its collapse. What were these groups of, who were these groups of people who lived in Bunyoro before, in Bunyoro Chitara before it collapsed? Someone thinking? Okay, now we have to compare your answer with mine. Okay, now the ruling groups of Bunyoro Chitara Empire or dynasties were 2. But before that, we need to know what does a dynasty mean. A dynasty simply is a group of rulers from the same family, one after the other. Just I can give you a quick example of Buganda Kingdom. You know, the ruling family of Buganda is a dynasty. The rulers come from the same family. So that was started by the people known as the Batembuzi. They started their ruling family known as the Tembuzi dynasty. Even those people who came later, they also followed the same steps. So what were these dynasties? These dynasties included 1, the Tembuzi dynasty, or the Tembuzi people, then also the Chwezi dynasty, or the Bachwezi people. They are the only 2 groups of people who lived in Bunyoro Chitara Empire, or you can say kingdom. Now, my friends, we have to first deal with the Tembuzi dynasty. What was it all about? This dynasty was formed by Ruhanga, as I told you earlier. It was formed by Ruhanga, who was the first Tembuzi, according to the traditions, or to the myths, or to the stories that explain their origin. Are we there? So Tembuzi dynasty was formed or founded by Ruhanga and is believed to have been the first Tembuzi person. Are we together? Now, he was not the only leader. There are many other people who ruled after him, like his immediate brother Ncha. We also had the Kakama, we had the Baba, we had the Mukonko, and many others. But it is important for you to note that the last ruler of the Batembuzi or Tembuzi dynasty was King Isaza. Is reflected as King Isaza, and that takes us to the belief that this Bunyoro Chitara Empire can also be regarded as a kingdom, because it is said that the last king, and a king is a title given to the head of a kingdom. Are we together, friends? Now, I have things for you to note. The Tembuzi dynasty existed for around 4 regimes or generations. Are we there? When I say generation, I simply mean a group of people who were born around the same age. Just like as you hear these days, people saying this is our generation, it means that these people were born around the same time. Are we there? Like we have the old generation, the likes of our grandparents, that was a generation. Now we have our parents. Then we are also living. We are also going to have our children. That will also be their generation. So they lived around 4 regimes or generations. Are we there? And then they disappeared. And their last king was known as Isaza. The Tembuzi people were believed to be demigods just because they could perform miracles. Even today, when someone does something unusual, there is some attachment you can put to that person. So no, this person is just is having the powers, supernatural powers. So even these people had supernatural powers. They used to perform miracles. They would appear and sometimes they would disappear. And that's why we referred them to as demigods, because they used to perform miracles. Are we there? Like when they were living, they just disappeared, and it's believed that they went back to heaven. Are we there, friends? When Isaza was locked in the underground by Nyamyonga, it is believed that the Batembuzi people disappeared and went back to heaven, and that marked the end of the Batembuzi. They are believed to have disappeared, and that marked the end of their living or their rule in Bunyoro Chitara. Are we there? So when they disappeared, there are also other people who came and succeeded these people. So the first group of people to live or to have lived in Bunyoro Chitara were the Batembuzi, or Tembuzi people, or the Abatembuzi. When they disappeared, they were succeeded by the other people known as Bachwezi, and they also started their ruling family known as Chwezi dynasty. So my friends, allow me take you through the Chwezi dynasty as the dynasty that succeeded the Tembuzi dynasty in Bunyoro Chitara. What do we have to know about the Chwezi dynasty? Okay, one, it replaced the Tembuzi dynasty and was founded by a man known as Ndahura, and after killing Bukuku, who had declared himself as the king after Isaza had disappeared. Remember, Bukuku was the gatekeeper of King Isaza. So when he disappeared, Bukuku declared himself as the next king. Now, this man known as Ndahura, when you follow the story, Ndahura was a grandson of Bukuku. Remember, he was thrown away and someone picked him up and took care of him. So when he grew up as a big man, a huge man, time came and they met with his grandfather that he didn't know. As you still remember those legends, they fought and he killed his grandfather and he became the king. So this gentleman known as Ndahura was the founder of the Chwezi dynasty. Are we there? The Bachwezi are believed to have come from Kush. Kush is a place in Ethiopia. So that's where these people are believed to have come from. They had their headquarters at Vigo vya Mugenyi. We have already talked about historical sites and we said about Vigo vya Mugenyi. That is where these people had their headquarters. Are we there? That is where they had their base, Vigo vya Mugenyi. Now, King Wamala was the last ruler of the Chwezi dynasty. They were replaced by the Luo Babito dynasty. Now the second group of people to live in Bunyoro Chitara were the Bachwezi, who are believed to have come from Kush in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a neighbor of East Africa, just in the north of Kenya. So now we have known the two groups of people who lived in Bunyoro before it disappeared, or it collapsed, or it got disintegrated. Now, before these people left, they had their contributions that we are going to look at in the next session. Now, session number 3, we have to look at the contributions of the Bachwezi in East Africa. The Bachwezi had very many contributions, and I have a simple question for you, friends. Give any 3 contributions of the Bachwezi. Do you still remember any? Or you are just scratching your head, saying, I don't recall what the teacher taught. Please give time to your books. Always revise P5, P4, up to P1. You have to revise P1 work also. Are we there, friends? Now, let's see. The contributions of the Bachwezi are grouped into 3. We have the economic contributions, the political, and the social. Now, when we talk of the economic contributions, we simply mean what they did that can help us to earn a living, to get income. Those will be the economic contributions. The things that they brought, and they can boost the economy. They can enable people get money. They are the economic contributions. The first one is they introduced long-horned cattle. The one you locally call them the Mbarara cattle. Those ones were brought here or introduced by the Bachwezi people. Are we there? So friends, they also started salt mining at Lake Katwe. People who were here in East Africa didn't know the use of Lake Katwe until the Bachwezi came and they taught. They started the mining of salt in Lake Katwe or at Lake Katwe. They also introduced iron smelting. The making of tools or things out of iron was started by these great people, the Bachwezi. Now, friends, they also introduced coffee growing. You see your parents involving in coffee growing, you have to remember something, that this was started and introduced by our friends known as the Bachwezi. I think these were very great people to the history of East Africa, and I'm proud to be telling you such information about the past. Now, friends, these people also introduced pottery, or the idea of making things out of clay, mainly pots. It was brought by the Bachwezi people. They also introduced bark cloth making. This is commonly done by Baganda, bark cloth making. Have you ever seen a bark cloth? Or it's made from mutuva tree, okay? So that was also brought by our friends, the Bachwezi. They introduced cowhide sandals. Are we there? So all these are economic contributions of the Bachwezi. There are many. I've just extracted a few. You can add on the list. You can pay a visit to your P5 book and you see more. Are we there? So we also have the political contribution. Now, when we talk of political contributions, these deal with governance, boundaries of a place, the governance of an area, the ruling of a place. How do they also contribute to the administration of East Africans? One, they introduced a centralized monarchy. Let's repeat after me. They introduced a centralized monarchy. Let's spell the word monarchy. Monarchy. M-O-N-R-C-H-Y. Monarchy. What do I mean here? This system where all powers are centralized to one person. Like these kingdoms we see here, the powers, traditional kingdoms, all the powers were centralized to one person, and that was the identical ruler, the king or the emperor. They had all their powers, and that system is called a centralized administration or centralized monarchy. They also introduced the royal regalia, and when I say royal regalia, do you know what I mean? Royal regalia, we simply mean the items that identify a kingdom, like the royal gown, royal throne, the royal drum, the royal spear. Those things that identify a kingdom are known as royal regalia. They were brought by the Bachwezi people. They also introduced the idea of building reed palaces. That's why when we visit these palaces, in most cases, you find some small huts that are built, that are roofed using the reeds. Are we there? That is just to keep the traditions, to keep the culture. But it was started by the Bachwezi people. They also introduced the idea of digging ditches around the palaces for defense. These people were very wise. They never had guns. Okay? So what they would do, they would dig around the palace. So if you come and you don't know where the right gate is, the right entrance is, you have very many chances of stopping at that point, at the ditch. You can either fall into it and they find you there after some time. They will ask you, why were you trespassing? Or you end there and you go back. Are we there? So these were political contributions of the Bachwezi. We also have the social, the contributions that relate people, that are about relationship, interaction, of how people interact with one another. So we have one, they introduced Mweso games, or the one which is local, which is known as the local chess. These games are not famous in urban areas, they are mainly played in villages, where you find they have something like a table with some small holes, whereby you get some black seeds and you put them there. You keep on picking one by one and you move them around these holes. That is the local chess, the Mweso game. That Mweso game would bring people together to interact. So it was a social contribution. Friends, these people, the Bachwezi also introduced the building of grass-thatched houses. There are many in my village, the grass-thatched houses. Before you see these bungalows you have, we used to build houses with the roof made out of grass. We would roof using grass. So such a house is called a grass-thatched house or hut. They are also common in villages, and maybe they have been modernized. When you go to modern hotels, there are those small places where you need to sit and relax. They also have that shape. They bring out that shape. They are grass-thatched. Now, they also introduced the idea of digging ditches for defense. The ditches also were dug around our homes to protect ourselves. Are we there? It would be dug around the palace, and even at personal level, at social level, you would do that mainly for defense. Now, my good friends, the lesson has been a long one, but I guess you have been following. It was just a pleasure to give you information about a historical, a legendary empire. So I come to an end with a piece of work that I have designed for you. My friends, I request you to answer it very well. And we shall also see the other reasons that led to the collapse of this empire. I want to end here, and I say, stay home, sanitize, wear a mask every time you get out of your home, and we meet in the next lesson.